Hello, it's Mrs. Combs, and we're going to talk about factoring polynomials. This video is designed for algebra students. But we're only going to talk about the GCF, factoring the GCF. Okay, so let's start. I've got 6C3 and D, 6C3D minus 12 C squared D squared plus 3CD. Okay, so I start with the numbers. What is the greatest common factor of the three numbers? Well, I always start with the smallest one and see, does 3 go into 6? It does. Does it go into 12? Yes, and it obviously goes into 3 one time. So often the smallest number is going to be your greatest common factor. If you hear clicking, it's only my dog walking around. So I factor out the 3. I factor out the lowest exponent of C, which is right here, C1. And there's D1, so there can't be a lower exponent than that unless there's not a D, and there is a D in everything. Then I factor. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 minus 1 is C squared. 3 times 4 is 12. And 2 minus 1 is C, and 2 minus 1 is just D. And plus 1, I'm going to say 3 times 1 is 3, and write the 1, because the 1 is important. 1 minus 1 is 0, so no 3's, no C's. 1 minus 1 is 0, so there's no D's. But the 1 must stay there. Because if I start with 3 terms, my parentheses will have 3 terms. If your starting polynomial has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, then your parentheses will have 1, 2, 3 terms. Okay? So that's the first problem. Simple, huh? Nothing to it. You've already got this one. You figured it out already. Let's try this next one. 15, x3, y3, z3. So it's got 3 variables. Minus 5, x, y, z. So 5 does go into 15. So 5 is the numerical GCF. And these are all 1s, so they're the lowest. X, Y, Z is the lowest. It's the lowest X, because this is 3, the lowest Y, because this is 3, and the lowest Z, because that's 3. We have 2 terms here, so we're going to have 2 terms inside our parentheses. And there'll be a minus sign in the middle. Okay? Minus sign, minus sign. 5 times 3 is 15, and 3 minus 1 is x squared, 3 minus 1 is y squared, and 3 minus 1 is z squared. 5 times 1 is 5. No x's, no y's, no z's. We've got an xyz, and it's an xyz. Now I want to show you this time why that 1 is important. I'm going to distribute this back. 3 times 5 is 15. X times x squared is x3. Y times y squared is y3. And z times z squared is z3. Now, if I stop there without the 1, if I didn't put the 1 there, that's all I get. But there's a term over here that I have to get back. So if I multiply by 1, I get 5xyz. 1 times 5xyz is 5xyz. So in order to get this term back, I have to put that 1 there. 2 terms at the beginning, 2 terms at the end. Very important. When we come to reducing fractions, that will be very important. Okay. I picked this one because it looks awful, but it's not so bad. x4y, 39x3y2, $52x2y3. Uh-oh, I'm going to have to write really small. Minus 13xy4. Okay? All right. So, I start, remember, with my smallest number. Does 13 go into 26? Yes, because 2 times 3 is 6 and 2 times 1 is 2. So 2 times 13 is 26. Does it go into 39? Well, let's try 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. Yes, it does, 3 times. Now, that one's a little bit different. But let's try 4. This is 2, 3. Let's try 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 is 5. So yes, it goes into 13 is the greatest common factor. What's the lowest exponent of x? Well, it's 1. What's the lowest exponent? Well, look, it's y1 because there's y1, and it can't be any higher than that and it can't be any lower. So that's it. You can have a higher one, but the greatest common factor can't be higher than that. Now, 13 times 2, we said, was 26. 4 minus 1 is x3, and we already have a y. So we don't need another one. Minus 3. 3 minus 1 is x squared. And 2 minus 1 is y. Plus 4 times, I'm having to write small, 2 minus 1 is 1. 3 minus 1 is y squared. Minus 1, I'm going to write it and see if we need it. 1 minus 1, we've got 1x, don't need it. 4 minus 1, we don't need it because we've got a y3 down here. There we go. So we started with 1, 2, 3, 4, and we finished with 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to have the same number of terms inside the parentheses as you do in the original polynomial. Okay? And one more. One more tricky little dude. So I have 9ab squared minus 6ab minus 3a. Okay, now there's no b here. So I can't factor a b out. There's no b there. But I have 3 terms. I'm going to have 3 terms inside my parentheses. Now there's the smallest number. Is it going to 9? Yes. 6? Yes. Okay, a winner. Ding, ding. And the lowest exponent of a, they're all 1s. So I take out a. Now, 3 times 3 is 9. We already have the a, but we need that b squared. 3 times 2 is 6. We already have the a, but we need the b. And 3a times 1 is 3a. Okay? 3 times 1 is 3, and the a's fall out. We have the a already. Now, this can be factored, but we're going to talk about factoring trinomials on another video later on. We're not going to do it today. So this is not in lowest terms yet. It's not completely factored. But that's okay, because today we're only factoring out the G, C, Now, interestingly, for the GCF, you start with the smallest number. You think you're going to look at big, but no, you're going to start small. So the GCF is smaller in value than the rest of the terms. It's sort of the opposites day, thing. Okay? So this is just factoring out the greatest common factor in a polynomial. And remember, since I have 3 up here, how many do I have here? 3. I have to have 3. If I had 5 up there, I'd have to have 5 in here. The same number of terms in the original polynomial have to be inside the parentheses. Same number of terms. Thank you, and see you later.